guys, this is Matt for another Minecraft video. So lots of you have been coming and asking for a tutorial on my chicken machine. This is this OP machine that's given me now $1.2 million in M&B Skyblock. And I'm going to show you how to do this right now, right here. So first off, here I am inside a little profit shop. Many of you on the server have visited here in order to buy my raw chicken and feathers, which I sell for less than you can sell at shop. So you can go in here and go to raw chicken or whatever and then sell everything in one click. Do the same thing with feathers, one click, so you can get an entire inventory of raw chicken, entire inventory of feathers in one click, and then sell it with one click. It's pretty cool. And I decided to make this out of diamond just because why not? So here I am, and I'm going to actually take you through the machine right here. I just went into spectator mode, which is GM3. It's a special mode that I get as a mod, and I'm just going to totally abuse things right now. And what is this? The $1 million sheep unwillingly donated by Tear in my heart. I didn't even know that was here. So yes, apparently we have a sheep down here. So this is the machine, and I'm going to walk you through this. So first off, we have 3 rows of chests here. The bottom row here is for feathers. Then we have raw chicken, and then we have overflow. And that overflow is typically eggs. Sometimes get eggs out of this. And sometimes, though, however, these things will actually fill up all the way. So there's something like 20-odd chests here. And it's pretty straightforward. You can just see that I've got hoppers going down here. The only thing that's worth mentioning that's kind of special about this is that there are 2 separate paths of this machine. You can kind of think about this machine as being 2 machines that are connected in the middle. And each path goes its own route. And I'm going to walk you through that right now. This is spectator mode, so I can go inside blocks and show off how things are happening. And you can see all these chicken, here's raw chicken and stuff going into these hoppers. They're then going over 3 item sorters right here. The first 2 are for feathers, and they're both for feathers, and they both flow into this this feather chest right here. You can see that this path comes down here and flows in from the back. This path flows in here from the side, and this is feathers all the way down. And then the last one here is for raw chicken. And the reason I have 2 here is just because sometimes the rate of production is so high that a single item sorter can't keep up. And so to minimize, I can't eliminate, but I can minimize the amount of items that flow past these sorters and into the overflow chests here. And so this last one here is for raw chicken. It goes into the raw chicken path. And yeah, it's really quite straightforward here. If you need to know how item sorters work, you can look that up. There's plenty of videos on YouTube for that right now. So I'm going to take you again inside the machine, and here's all this stuff coming out. And again, I've kind of split the machine into 2 sides. So I'm just going to do one half of this machine. You can see there's a second half over here, and the same thing is happening. And we got a rogue chicken in here. That's not unusual. I'll explain why that happens and what I do about that. And in fact, sometimes chickens will escape and they'll come down in here. And I've actually set this up so that chickens will float up here, and then this serves as another kill box. And in fact, you can see for a moment there, the mob stacker plugin shows the numbers here. It looks like there's 66,000 chickens currently here. Every 2 seconds, that number is dropping down. And so for the next several days or whatever, this stack of chickens is going to slowly be slain, and as they die, once every 2 seconds from block suffocation. This is not water suffocation, mind you, it's block suffocation. If it was water suffocation, it would take about 20 seconds to kill a chicken. With block suffocation, it takes only 2 seconds. This is part of the secret why this is so efficient and effective. And the drops come down here and into the hopper path right here. Now, these 2 sides, I'm just going to take one of these. These are effectively identical. So, again, this machine is split in half, and then each half is further split in half. And the reason I've done that is to optimize the amount of flow that comes down from each one of these. So I'm just going to explore one of these halves over here. So right here is a dispenser that is firing out at a very rapid rate chicken and feathers and things like that. You can see it being fired past me. And I'm going to explain how this works. There's a bit of redstone here. And what I have is I have a pair of redstone clocks, all triggered by a single lever. So this lever here is, I'll just go back here so you can get a sense for where we just were. So this is the inside right here of the machine. And I do have, I encased it in glass since the last time I went in here, just to keep people out of here. If they do come down here, I didn't want them to be able to sit in here and basically suck up all the drops from this. And so I also put doors so I could get in and out easily. But if I go over here, you'll see that I've got this as turn off to capture eggs. And so there's basically this lever. If I flip this lever, it will stop the dispensers from firing, which means all they will do is collect eggs. And so it's a way for me to, actually, the way I seeded this was with just eggs. I went up and threw literally something like 100,000 eggs over the course of several weeks. It was totally mind-numbing. I hated it. but it's worth it. Turned out to be worth it. And so anyway, here's this redstone pulse going down to a dispenser down here, and this dispenser is firing out raw feathers over a packed ice ramp here. And the only reason I did this could just be all hoppers. Instead of having things firing out here, it could be all hoppers. But when I first built this, it was very early in the game. Hoppers were incredibly rare. And in fact, what I did is I only had hoppers going to this first chest. And then as I acquired iron, I connected up these other chests with hoppers. So I went ahead and put most of the chests down in the first place because wood was cheap, but iron was expensive. And so I only extended the collection all the way down here with something like 20 chests for each one of these. These are 20 dubs, I should say. So there's a total of, because there's 3 different types here, there's about 60 dubs. And therefore, there's lots and lots of hoppers down here. But I didn't do that until later on in the game, until I had enough iron. Now I've got tons of iron, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so going back here to this dispenser, let me show you what's happening above this dispenser. So above this dispenser is a hopper, and above this hopper is what I call a killing chamber. And there's a half slab above this hopper and another dispenser that is actually being fired from this same very fast hopper clock. You can see this redstone pulse uses a comparator that's set to subtract. It means you right-click it once after you place it, and that causes this hopper clock to fire, and it's firing to this dispenser here, which is firing eggs, and it's firing to this dispenser here, which is firing out the drops from those eggs. And again, this is really unnecessary. I could just have entirely hoppers here, but because of when I built this and my resources available, I went ahead and did this. So here we are looking at the inside of the killing chamber. And it's important that there are 2 things to note. First off, this dispenser is firing out eggs, and you can see the rate at which this fire is happening. Pew, 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 firing out lots and lots of eggs. 1 out of 8 of these eggs, on average, is becoming a chick. And when it becomes a chick, it should merge with the stack of chicks right here. I don't know if I can make the numbers show up here, but it should be a pretty sizable stack of chicks right here. And then meanwhile, these chicks are going to mature every 20 minutes and become a full-grown chicken. And because that chick is standing on a half slab, it's fine. But as soon as it becomes a chicken, it's now inside the block above this. And therefore, these chickens are, in this killing chamber, dying once every 2 seconds. And so this is the inside of the machine. Now, it looks like I've got eggs backing up here, which is funny. I may have to do some adjustments to this because I really didn't design it for eggs backing up, but the admins have changed the rate at which hoppers do various things a couple times, and it's thrown off my original math from when I first built this. So let's talk a little bit about this killing chamber first. One of the glitchy things about Minecraft is that you can see, like, sometimes that there are, like you saw, things just fly up, and even though this thing is entirely encased in solid stone, there's no corners here. I want to point that out. There are no corners here, except where the dispenser itself and the hoppers are. Even though there's no open corners here and it's solid stone, the drops fly out a lot. So what I did is I created a water area over this, and then a second ceiling, I guess you could, to stop the drops. So the drops would fly out, they'd glitch through this initial block, they'd hit the top and they'd drop, the water would then collect it and bring it down to my my collection system. And I have to credit SebJC for coming up with the idea of this particular part of this. And then I realized that sometimes these things were being fired at such a speed they would glitch through the second layer up here, and in fact you can still occasionally see them happen. But rather than try to build a second layer, what I did is I thought, I can slow them down by introducing cobwebs. And so I placed cobwebs. You can actually see here's some chicken in a cobweb, another feather slowly falling down. They'll fall down and eventually glitch out or whatever they'll do, and eventually get down to the collection area down here. So again, this is one side here. We've got the special killing chamber here. The half slab is what's key here. The eggs, sometimes you see that visual glitch where it looks like they're still firing. They don't fire beyond that. They hit the side of the wall here. They turn into a little chick. That chick eventually matures into an adult. Every 20 minutes, the entire stack, I think, actually becomes an adult. And then and it merges with any adults that stand right here. They're dying every 2 seconds. Those drops are then being collected, most of them in this hopper. Some of them get flung up into the air here, and then through the cobwebs into this other wall here, and are then brought down to the collection chamber. So now that we've kind of understand this, let's talk about how the eggs get into this dispenser itself. And as you can see, we've got eggs up here, and so I realize I've got probably too many eggs that are laying up, or chickens that are laying eggs here for what the hoppers can handle. So I'll make some adjustments to this machine after this video. But so what we have here is we have an area where there are chickens just stacked up one upon each other. I'm going to go into the wall here so you can kind of get a look at here on the inside. And you can see that each one of these here is higher and higher up a single stack of 64 chickens. And once every 7.5 minutes on average, uh, this stack, each of these stacks, I should say, lays a stack of 64 eggs. And you saw eggs there. These 64 eggs then get collected in this hopper. And from this hopper, they go into this other hopper and finally into this dispenser, from whence they're shot out here and become part of the killing machine. Now, there's some important facts about this as well. So first off, I've created, to feed this one killing chamber, which you can see in there, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 towers. Each of these towers is 10 high, and that means that there are 40 stacks of 64 chickens that are laying eggs here. And there are specific distances. The reason that this is all spread out and it's not nice and compact is because of the Mob Stacker plugin. And by default, the Mob Stacker plugin will combine 2 stacks with of the same type of creature if one of those creatures dies. And apparently, this is undocumented, but my belief is that if the server restarts, it's essentially spawning in the stacks at that moment, and during that restart, it may merge chickens or mobs together. I've learned this the hard way, mind you. And so it does it if they are within, if I recall, 5 blocks vertically. So if I count blocks here and I say, here's a chicken, and between that chicken is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 5 spaces, and then it's not until the 6th space that this chicken is here. That 5 spaces has to be there. Otherwise, there's a chance that these chickens will merge. And Mr. ZX, one of the admins, Liam, at one point was goofing around with the Mob Stacker plugin early on in the server's existence and changed those configuration settings, causing all of my mobs to stack, all my chickens to stack into like a single stack, and ruined everything, and I had to do it all over again. Really drove me nuts. But and then it happened a second time, and I had to do it again. Anyway, I'm completely and totally OCD about this now. The other thing is that if they're within, if I recall, 3 blocks vertically, and it might only be 2 blocks, but what I found is I put 1, 2, 3 blocks between them, and then there's the 4th one. So I have 3 blocks of open space vertically and 5 blocks horizontally between each and every stack in here. And that's why this machine has to be spread out the way it is. And so you can take this pretty much as high as you want. It looks like I may have taken it a little too high with the changes that have been made to the server, because we don't really want entities stacking up here. Now, this is not helpful for the server, and it's not helpful for the machine, so I'm going to go and actually remove some of the laying chickens for this particular machine now that I've gone here in spectator mode. I've never done this before, because it's kind of cheating, to be honest. But anyway, I'm doing it now for this tutorial. And I'm going to basically kill some of the stacks until the hoppers are able to keep up with the egg-laying capacity of these hens. And so this machine, here it is, this is one killing chamber. Now, if you recall, if I go back here, there's another path. This is going to go to another killing chamber, and here it is right here. Same type of thing. This one's in the middle. I've got the same method that I got to credit SebJC with coming up with the idea for, which was to water the top of this so that when it looks like there's no adult chickens in this particular killing chamber right now. That will change within the next 20 minutes as soon as this chick grows up and begins dying, because it'll be into the block above here. And anyway, so you can see, oh, it looks like the adult chicken may have glitched out. This does happen sometimes, and for those of you building this, I haven't really found a way around it. This is just kind of some of the glitchiness of Minecraft. But eventually this guy will make his way down here, make his way up, and before I had this all covered up, they'd find themselves up in here, and they would just basically kill themselves. It just took a little bit longer. But now that I've closed this off in order to prevent people from, now that people are aware of this machine since I posted a video about it, I found people that were coming down here and standing here. Now I have to actually grab a little bit of seed and coax the chickens into their death over here, but it's not really a big deal. I do it like once a day, and it just fixes everything. So I've got a second killing chamber here, and then I've got a third killing chamber over here. And it looks like it's at the maybe the same issue with no adult chicken yet over here. And then a fourth killing chamber right in here, working away, plus the 2 tower killing chambers. These are the ones that are up in the air here, where they're dying over here, and again over here. Now with these towers, I ended up doing the same thing as I did with the other killing chambers, where if I go up, I've got a layer of water over them, and that's to catch the high velocity drops as they shoot out from the block suffocating chicken, and then they fall into water. They pour down here, they drop down, and they make it to the collection system down here. But I also decided to cobweb it because I just felt like that was useful. And when I did this, I mean, it used to be that I would just see stuff just erupting out of here. It was like a fountain of raw chicken just rushing out of the tops of these things, each of these killing chambers. And so by putting the cobwebs in place over a second layer of water over the actual full blocks here, I managed to prevent that from happening. So this is essentially it. This is the chicken machine right now, and it's still very, very effective. Um, I showed you basically half of the machine. So I showed you this half of the machine. The other half is effectively a mirror of it. So we could see this other path here, and we're going to have a killing chamber over here, and there it is. You can just see eggs are constantly being flung out of this, and then we have another killing chamber somewhere over here, and I've lost my way in my own machine, but it's somewhere around here. Here it is, and so yeah, we're still waiting on chicken to grow here. But this is it. This is the machine, guys. And I think this is about as much of a tutorial as I'm going to make on this. I just don't have the desire to build this thing again in Creative or any other place. This is about as good of a look as you're going to get. This machine has evolved over time. Like I've been making tweaks to it, so it's not like this is a static design. In fact, I noticed there were some inconsistencies in some of the way this was laid out. Like for example, I've got some blocks that are missing here that apparently are over here, but apparently they're not necessary, so not a big deal. And then I will say that even with all this excess coverage around these killing chambers where we have the water and we have the cobwebs and all that kind of stuff, we still have drops that make it outside of this machine and chickens that make it outside of this machine. So it's not uncommon for me to come down here and to find some chickens wandering around. They usually are in the form of a stack, and I usually just lead them up my stairway. That's actually why I have my stairway. Oh, here's a feather floating around, a little stack of feathers probably, and I don't even care about them. I get so much of this stuff, guys. I don't even care. And so I usually will take a chicken. I'll just lead them up with some seed, which is why this stairway exists. I'll lead them all the way up here, and then I'll just open this door and shove them in. So that's about it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. I will address questions in the comments. I'm probably not going to do a whole lot more here because this is about it. I do have a beacon up here. This is a solid emerald. Yay. Enough for 9 beacons up here. This is not part of the build, but I'm just showing it off. Haha. But yeah, so this is it, guys. Leave questions, comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. I always appreciate that. It makes me feel like I should do more videos. And if you absolutely hated it, keep it to yourself. I don't really care. So thanks, guys. Talk to you again. Bye.